Welcome. Welcome to Kona. This is the Crimson Circle monthly meeting, and we're here at the Schomburg Pavilion and excited. Actually, I'm a little overwhelmed because I love all the energies of the holidays, the sparkles, and
I love
all
the bears that we have with us today.
Oh, I know. Jeffrey,
aren't they great?
Jeffrey?
What?
Wasn't that your nickname when you were a kid?
It was. But I just love a big stuffed teddy bear.
That's you.
The one over here is Linda's, and one over here is mine. And we take it in the car with us, and not really. But anyway, welcome everybody. Originally, this was going to be from the Crimson Circle Connection Center in Colorado. Yep. It was going to be our Christmas party. We were going to be back there, but we all know things happen. We had to cancel the Christmas party. And at that point, Linda and I said, let's stay another couple weeks here in Kona, enjoy the beauty of it, enjoy being with Belle, who was just up here just before we went live. She was wishing us well, told us to break a leg and, things like that. So anyway, we're here with all of you. Welcome to the December 2012 Shout. Yeah, so we got a lot to cover today, but we do want to welcome everyone from all around the world. Schomburg are just amazing. We recently did an online event. We had people from 29 different countries. So
it's December.
It's December.
2021.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we're going to get into it right away. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to get into the Art of Benching number 2 that was played last month to remind us all what Adamus talked about, because for the life of me, I do not remember. Do you remember what he talked about?
Yeah, benching.
Benching, okay. Well, that was pretty good. So we're going to get into that right away with a recap from last month. Here we go. I'd like to begin with a little story. This is the story that takes place a long, long time ago. It's the story of Giuseppe, a brilliant, talented sculptor. He started out creating little miniature bronze sculptures, and then they got bigger and bigger, did life-size sculptures, and he was known far and wide for being the greatest sculptor of all. One day he said, I want to do my masterpiece now. I want to create such an amazing sculpture of God. So it came the day that they would be pouring the molten bronze into the mold. He was close over the big cauldron of bronze going away, being heated up, and he looked over and went a little too far, fell straight into the vat of molten bronze. They poured the molten bronze into the mold. And then they poured the other half and put them together and let them set. And now, here's this sculpture of God looking out onto the village and onto the village people, with Giuseppe cast inside of it. And then one day, 1,000 or more years later, with a statue of God standing there over the village, but now pretty much forgotten, one day a big storm came up. It came across the horizon, a huge tornado, and it moved through the village and went straight to the statue of God made by Giuseppe, straight to it. And by now the statue was pretty worn out, had holes in it, lost a lot of the detail, was discolored, wasn't much of anything. It was pretty drab, pretty boring. And this tornado headed straight for it, knocked it over onto the ground, shattered it into thousands of pieces. And at this point, all this commotion woke up Giuseppe after over 1,000 years of being stuck in his own sculpture. It woke him up. And upon awakening, he didn't really still realize who he had been, but he knew he had been trapped in this sculpture for a long, long time. Upon awakening, there was almost a fear that came over him. Who am I now? I'm no longer this statue. I'm no longer the statue of God. Who am I now? I am free, but what does that mean? What do I do with my freedom? He realized that it is so easy to get trapped in an identity when the true God within says you are all identities, anything you want to be. And yes, you can dive deep into one. You can become trapped as if in a sculpture. But you're always free to create any new identity you want for yourself. One of the things that you're going to find happening to you right now, or has been happening to you, is that sense of identity that you shaped and created and sculpted for yourself and molded for yourself and then kind of got stuck in. It's breaking away. It's a pretty big shift, and we can feel the resistance on many of you of by identifying or re-identifying yourself, because the old identity falls apart. The dragon was instrumental in helping with that, break it apart. But you realize the dragon is also there. The dragon is you. The dragon is there so you can be so many things now, to be the Merlin, to be the human on the planet, to be a child in many ways, to be an artist, to be anything you want to be, and you can be them all. And that's the beauty of being the Merlin on the planet. You're not stuck in one form of identification. So next on the schedule, there is a big question right now. What's the difference between consciousness and thought? It's a little bit of a difficult one because they're kind of closely aligned, but yet they're very, very different. And what I want to do right now is to assist you in understanding the difference. So what is the difference between consciousness and thought? And I boiled it down to this. Very, very simple, easy to remember. Ellipses. 4 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's consciousness. I am that I am. Write that on the board. I am that I am, 4 dots. That's consciousness. I mean, it's put into words, yes, but it's not super defined. And the 4 dots at the end mean that now go into the experience. Well, it's not defined. It's open-ended. It's a feeling now that can then go into anything, an experience. It can go into a thought. I am that I am, and then 4 dots. It's the difference between consciousness and thought is the difference between ellipses, open-ended, dot, 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 and a period at the end of the sentence. Consciousness is everywhere. It's not just in the brain or just in the body. It is in those things, but it's everywhere. Consciousness doesn't take up space, and it's not synced into any form of time. It's just there. Consciousness, it is. I am. Thoughts, on the other hand, are defined, oftentimes judgmental, oftentimes put into words so they can be communicated supposedly more effectively. Thoughts are what builds an identity. I bring all this up because your mind is changing. You're coming back to more a consciousness-oriented reality than a thought-based mental structure reality. You're coming back to more consciousness and more identification with the all that you are, not the little that you are. Consciousness is who you really are. The thoughts are simply the ways of experiencing it and acting it out. But let's not cast them in bronze.
Well, that was distilled rather nicely.
And now I remember it was about ellipses. Yeah.
And consciousness.
And consciousness, but ellipses basically meaning in consciousness it keeps going. In thought, it's just a period. In consciousness, it keeps going. If we ever had another dog, wanted another dog in addition to Belle, which we probably wouldn't, we'd call them ellipses. It'd be a good name.
You would.
It'd be a good name for a dog, I think. Anyway, we're going to take a look now at our recent events. We had a couple of great, really good gatherings here in Kona.
2 Kasama events, and it was really exciting because there's so many limits, and the attendees jumped through hoops to make their way through the travel rules and guidelines to get here. So the events, we were very honored for the people that came with such determination. It was very sweet.
They literally came from all around the world. But they had a tough time getting here. Kasama is just such a great workshop. It takes things to another level. It's really, it's about the destiny of the soul, is what Adamus says, but it puts everything together. It's really the next level of workshops. And as a matter of fact, that and Masters in Communications are just great. But just some shots of the group that was here, and of course, excellent food service as always. With Michelle and Jessica, Vanessa, all helping. And, it's important. You got to have good food. And, of course, Belle, the Villa dog.
Our dear Belle.
Yeah. But these classes are very interactive, as you could tell. I think she was, laughing so hard she had to cover her face. But very interactive. And, of course, Belle, right front and center, helping with the energy.
Well, Adamus is very interactive with these workshops. So.
Very, very interactive.
And so,
here's a shot of the group afterwards, of course, with Belle right up front.
Right.
Then we went from that into another Kasama workshop right afterwards. Again, a fairly small group, just with the whole COVID thing. The groups are, 18 or 20 people. Which actually Linda and I really enjoy because you get to be so close and upfront really and personal with everybody.
Yeah.
And Adamus spends time with everyone, as you can tell from these photos. There's a lot of interactions. It's not just sitting back and listening to channels for 4 days. It's very, very interactive, and it's fun.
So. It is.
And
it truly is.
I tell you, every day when we're done, I'm wiped out just because of the intensity. Working with everyone and channeling Adamus, and I've learned to really love this format and everything that we do in it. So that's just a little glimpse at the recent events.
But we've got upcoming events.
We do have upcoming events, so we're going to jump into that right away.
Okay.
So upcoming events for, I think, going into next year now.
Right.
So let's take a look at those. The first, an important notice. That the next shout, which would be the January shout, is January 8th, 2022. It will be online only, and it will be from the studio back in Colorado. We haven't been there in a while.
Have not.
We've done some remodeling there on the stage area. Peter's been busy working with the tech team and the construction people, doing a little remodeling on the stage.
Yeah, really big project.
Yeah, and by the way, Peter's here today, helping, assisting with it. So. He's Mr. Jet Set, traveling back and forth, and hopefully he's loving it,
And again, it's so interesting. Nobody expected any of this to go the places that it has, but people are so restricted, and Colorado in particular has very restrictive social guidelines, and you cannot afford not to follow along because they're very harsh if you break the rules.
Yeah. So what's the best way to start out the new year? It's an interesting year with the number 2022. What's the best way? Well, that is with Pronos 2022. It's the annual forecast that Adamus does. Always kind of crazy, kind of over the top.
Jeff?
Yes?
I think we're all over the top.
Yeah,
and so at this point, I think we all are ready to hear something and get some sense that this goofy stuff is going to move forward.
Well, I know he's going to be talking about the state of the world and COVID and everything else we're going through in Pronos 2022. Let's take a look right now at the kind of a little preview for it.
Okay. We're ready.
I am that I am. Adamus of Sovereign Domain. When you came into this lifetime, you knew it was going to be a time of change on this planet. You knew you wanted to be here, along with other Shambra, to radiate your consciousness and illuminate potentials. You knew it was going to be an epic turning point for humanity, but nobody knew how it was going to unfold. That's why we created Pronost, the annual forecast for the planet and humanity. The planet sits at the crossroads of unprecedented changes. The human mind and biology are long overdue for an update, It's the time for birthing a new human species. Nearly every system on the planet is in the midst of change, from finance to manufacturing, medical and technical, political and religious. Even the environment is experiencing changes with the departure of Gaia as the gatekeeper, so humans can take full responsibility for nature. Higher levels of consciousness on the planet have allowed for extraordinary advancements in technology, and this new technology is changing nearly every aspect of human life at quantum speed. As I said years ago, everything goes new, and that's exactly what's happening. In Pronost, we explore the trends and directions of the planet for the next 25 to 30 years. It's essential information for any master choosing to stay here in order to understand not only what's happening, but also why it's happening. Join me for the new edition of Pronost on January 22nd, 2022 for the latest planetary update. It will open your eyes, your mind, and your consciousness to learn where the planet is headed in the years to come.
We are waiting with bated breath. I really want to hear what Adamus is going to say. I mean, when I see the interactions with Shaumbra, we're ready for something.
I get the chills just watching that promo.
I know.
Yeah, it's like, and then thinking, then I got to channel it.
Poor you.
Like, yeah. We'll be doing
what can we do for you?
We'll be doing this from Colorado, back in the studio
We will.
on January 22nd. You can sign up now for it. With Pronost, know what's up ahead. It's a look into the trends and directions. It's not predictions and prophecies, but it's trending. And that's so important for all of us to be aware of right now.
Absolutely. And we're ready.
Then coming up, I believe the weekend after that, is the Aspectology Online.
That's right.
Aspectology is truly one of the core Crimson Circle classes. It's one of my favorite. It's one of the tough ones because Tobias and then with the addition from Adamus, they really delve into it. They talk about, some of the how your aspects are created and how they can affect your life. It's big stuff.
Well, I think it's incredible, and it's like other things. That once you're made aware of how this is in your life, you won't ever forget it. Then it's in your consciousness, it's on your radar, and you
Absolutely.
see your life, and you are much more ready to deal with it.
And Tobias did the original Aspectology. Then Adamus did an update a number of years later, and it really works well
very
well together. But it's very comprehensive. It's a tough one. Let's take a little look at the trailer for Aspectology.
Each of us at times find ourselves in difficult or challenging circumstances. Whether these situations are clearly self-created or appear to be the product of chance, it's frustrating when life goes into disarray. From things like self-sabotage, bad luck, and debilitating fear, to harassment from other people and repeating patterns of failure, it can seem that the odds are always stacked against you. But there's actually nothing wrong. You're simply playing out old unconscious patterns. All too often, these episodes are caused by unintegrated aspects, parts of our personality operating unconsciously and triggering difficulties of all kinds. Once you understand what's really happening, you can get back in the driver's seat of your life. The new energy psychology called Aspectology is based on the understanding that you are whole and complete at the core. This new and very effective path to genuine healing requires a deep commitment to self. Those who have made this ongoing choice have reported remarkable inner renewal, the end of destructive patterns, and profound life changes. This new energy psychology will provide you a new understanding for true restoration. Aspectology, for giving you back to yourself.
So feel into that, and if it's right for you, it's an amazing course. Aspectology will incredibly assist you in managing your life and all your parts and pieces better than ever.
And we consider it one of the core Crimson Circle classes, right up there with SES, the Sexual Energy School, Master Code now. We consider it a core class. It really provides the foundation of understanding the voices in your head, if nothing else, and why they're there and how to bring them back into integration. It's really, really core stuff. And with it, well, like you always say, you never see life or yourself the same again. Tobias actually called it the new energy psychology. So it's got a little cartoon to show with that, but I thought it was funny.
Again, there are so many times we sense things, we hear things, but we don't know the real source of it. And this school is so good at giving you perspective on that I've never heard anywhere else.
Right. So that's Aspectology Online. It is January 28th through the 30th. Coming up pretty soon. It's in English and Spanish. You can go ahead and sign up now or anytime, but if you haven't taken it, really feel into it. You'll have 90 days access to the video and the text transcript. So we've gone to 90 days across the board with everything. So it's plenty of time to review.
SES is number one, Aspectology is number two. You know, we really don't force or push anything, but those two are really, really enhancing.
Absolutely.
Really enhancing.
So we'll continue on with events, but first a quick word about our live events in 2022.
Okay.
Of course, as everyone knows, we've been all very affected by everything happening with COVID. Due to the COVID-related travel issues, for all the workshops in 2022, maybe even going after that, but hopefully just 2022. All the workshops, we want to let you know, the registration fees are fully refundable if you're traveling from outside the United States. We realize and we found out that so often, somebody signs up, they want to come, and then at the last minute, travel restrictions change, and we don't want any of you worried about getting refunds. Now, we're saying outside of the United States because in the U.S. it's still pretty open. You can easily get to Hawaii from anywhere.
It's
in the
relatively
US.
Unrestricted.
Relatively unrestricted. Right. So, but if you're outside, if you're in Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, Central America, Africa, Canada, or Texas, it's fully refundable if you sign up and you're not able to attend. I'm joking about Texas, but they do like to think they're not in the U.S.
Jeff?
Yes?
Texas is very special.
We lived there for 15 years.
Hell yeah. And you don't mess with Texas because Texas was a republic, so it has the right to secede, the only state in the Union that has a right to secede should they choose.
Okay. So then coming up in, I believe it's February, we have the Kasama reunion. If you have attended any of the Kasama workshops or when it was still called Energy Works, you're welcome to come to this reunion. We have no idea what's going to happen, but it always turns out well. When we've had threshold reunions and other things, Adamus kind of goes off script and goes a little crazy.
Well, there's also something about when a group is specific, that in other words, everybody attending this will have attended Energy Works or Kasama, then there's a base that's already there for the group, so then Adamus can build off of that.
Absolutely. And then coming up in March 21st to 22nd, we have Masters in Communications. We recently did one here in Kona this autumn. I loved it. It was so good about understanding energy as communication and how to go beyond the need for words. I mean, I loved it. I can't wait to do it again. And then coming up, I'm not sure the dates yet, but I'm going to hopefully see it pretty soon, the Master Code Online. We've done that once. It was extremely popular, the online version. It's live hosted by Linda and I. We're going to be here at the Villa Amio in Kona. It is April 16th through the 17th, 2022. And we have a lot of the international languages are now translated. So If your English is not your primary language, a lot of them are now translated.
You can check that out online.
Absolutely.
And really, again, the feedback from that was very strong. People seem to really appreciate it. So look into it for you.
And I would say really it's right up there with SES, Aspectology, and now Master Code, of course, Dreamwalker Death and a few others. But it's a stellar class. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the reviews are strong.
Yeah. Then coming up in early April, April 10th through the 14th, we have Time Traveling with Adamus. That is sold out. That's sold out instantly. Yeah, and it's the first time doing it. I have no idea other than we're going to be doing some time traveling.
Jeff.
Yes?
We accept that. You say that every time.
I know, but I have to repeat it because I don't know. People come up to me and say, "What's it about?" I don't know. I said, but don't be late, for time traveling. show up on time. And, anyway, and then followed by that, we have another Masters in Communication coming up April 24th through the 28th. Got a lot of spaces left open on that.
Yeah,
so take a look at it if you feel like it's a great time of the year to get out of the northern hemisphere and get over here to Hawaii.
The tropical energy of life is just such a good break to give yourself.
Absolutely. And then coming up May 10th through the 14th, again here in Kona, another Time Traveling with Adamus. Right. We have plenty of spaces open on that. So again, just a reminder that if you're traveling from outside the United States, your registration fee is fully refundable. We understand that travel is very complicated today. And
do check into the travel protocols because that will be very helpful to you. If you wait to the last minute, that doesn't work too well.
Okay, ready to move on?
Sure.
All right, those are the upcoming events. Now we're going to go to Shambra News.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So all the news that's fit to print and to talk about. We got quite a bit to talk about here, so we'll just kind of move on. First of all, before saying anything else, remember to take a look at the multiple award-winning, I mean, probably thousands of awards on the Shambra News. It's our monthly magazine that we've been doing, the Shambra Magazine, monthly magazine we've been doing for a long time now, and I just love it. It comes together so well. Gene Tinder, the editor, Mark Ritter, who happens to be behind camera one today, as the art director. So always a lot of good articles.
Yep.
Okay, and we recently released a product, a wonderful product, and it wasn't Adamus.
No.
It was Kuthumi.
And it's been really popular.
It's been very popular. It's about going beyond the Adam-Kadmon template. Now, the Adam-Kadmon is the original architecture of the human body in biology that developed as we came here from the other realms, went through the period of Lemuria and then into Atlantis. And it's commonly called the Adam-Kadmon template. It's time for all that to change. We're right in the midst of it right now. With everything else going on, truly a new human species on this planet is being developed. And that's why for Shambra, for so many of us, it's really now about the time of the light body rather than, I mean, the technology is great and you get all sorts of stuff done to you, but it's really about us going into our light bodies. I think we've all been waiting for this for many, many, many lifetimes. I mean, dragging around this clunk of flesh, I was going to say something else, but dragging around this body is kind of hard. And right now, with everything being so intense, and us staying on the planet as embodied masters, it's time for our light body. Yeah. Well, actually, Adamus turned this over to Kuthumi. Remember at the time of the Merlin event back in September, he turned it over and said that actually Kuthumi was going to do it, and we filmed it here, I think a month or two ago. We filmed it right here in Kona, and it's now available. It is 5 sessions. And it talks about what the light body is and how to bring it into your life. It talks about the natural evolution of the human species. And it's insightful, at times entertaining. At times I was a little embarrassed channeling some of the stuff that Kuthumi was doing.
Well, Kathumi's real engaging, and he wants to pull you into it, and so it's actually quite easy to listen to.
Absolutely. And it's $125. There's 5 sessions, about 5 hours worth of content. And a lot of what Kathumi talks about is what it's not. In other words,
Right.
he said it's, let's not get into the chakras and let's not get into all these complex systems. The light body is coming in naturally, but here's what to expect and here's what you can do to make it a little easier. He does point out that the physical body is going to feel it. And at first, it's not necessarily going to be pleasant. I mean, there's a reaction from the biology as the light body comes in. But because he explains it so well, I think it takes the kind of the fear out of it, like what's
Right.
happening to my body.
Right.
It's really good. I mean, it's great. We're going to take a little preview right now of Kathumi's Making Light Body.
Great.
We're going to be talking in this series about making the light body. Making the light body, it's something that so many of you have been longing for, wishing for, hoping for, and waiting for, making that light body, because this body is not so light. This body is not so easy. This body has been prone to so much suffering, so much pain, so much anxiety, and worse than that, birth and death. The light body does not necessarily glow with light, but it can. But it's not necessary. The light body is just presence. By acknowledging and allowing the light body in, it begins to change the DNA. It begins to get you off of the ancestral cycles. It begins to break down the aniatron, that communication network in the body, and slowly replace it with a much simpler, much more efficient system, which ultimately could help in slowing down or possibly even reducing aging. It will definitely have an impact on the pain level of the body, definitely. And it will also give you more respect for your body as you realize now it's letting go of all the connections with the ancestral and coming back to your true sovereignty, your energy. The light body that you develop now, that you allow now, will incorporate the best of the physical characteristics and the physical senses, so that when you now go into other realms, other dimensions, or you go to the Ascended Masters Club, wherever it happens to be, you can recreate your physical whenever you want. This is the real traveling, the real ability to go anywhere, including coming back to Earth without going through incarnations, or without going through the birth process, and simply appearing to others with, it's not an illusion, but it's a manifestation of the light body in 3D form, but without actually having to be in this old, outdated vessel. It's time to allow in the true light body. And it begins with just being aware of it. Acknowledging that you are a master and that you are ready, and then just being aware that it's always been there. Hidden away, but it's always been there. Right now, in our gathering here of making light body. It's simply being aware that you already have that light body. Taking a deep breath and inviting it to join you. Bringing that heaven and earth together. That's what we're doing, making the light body. So that's making light body.
You could feel the smoothness of it. You know, you just want to dive into it.
Yeah, I love channeling that. I don't
so
channel
comfortable.
Cthulhu very often. I was a little concerned what would it be like, you know, over the 2 or 3 days that we filmed, and
It was great.
but I really loved it. And you know, when I'm channeling Adamus, I'm so used to it, I don't even have to think about it. But it really felt very comfortable with channeling Cthulhu, and it was great. And then, as a result of it, he did this one thing, kind of like a marab almost, called Hello Light Body. It was really beautiful, and we thought afterwards, wait, you know, maybe we could do a song, Hello Light Body. So we called up Gerhardt and Anat and said, hey, here's, I wrote some rough lyrics. They fine-tuned them because mine were pretty rough, but we're now offering that as a bonus track. Hello Light Body, it's an original song by Gerhardt and Anat, and let's take a listen.
Okay.
Hello, my dear, I'm your body of light, coming to make you feel so bright. Another satellite and another pain goes, another step closer to making us whole. I'm gonna give you a breath of air. I'll breathe you in and we can share this space of body and of light. We make it shine so bright. We make it shine so bright. We make it shine so bright.
So we even have an original song to go with it. Thank you, Gerhardt and Anat, for doing it, and doing it well, and doing it quickly.
And it's a bonus that comes with the light body class.
Absolutely. So, okay, moving along. Every month we do a spotlight product, and this month we've got a great one. This one it was from some sessions we did in Athens, Greece, really in the shadow of the Parthenon. I mean,
Incredible.
literally.
Incredible.
It seemed like it was a long time ago.
It was.
How long ago? Anyway, the product is called Expanding Your Intuition. There's 4 sessions. It was recorded in 2008. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
And oddly enough, I was channeling Tobias back then, but that weekend in Athens, he also brought in Cthulhu and Adamus. So it was like the 3 Musketeers.
Very incredible.
All right there. It gives you practical methods for understanding how to expand and to use your intuition. And it's downloadable in audio and text, no video, but
There's no
downloaded
video,
audio and text. And it's now available in 12 languages. So
Wow.
that's good. So a good chance it's in your language. $95. And what we do is we bring the Spotlight product up because we realize we have such an incredible
Right. Library.
archive of
Right.
materials going from so long. We forget the stuff.
Right.
And literally, as Jean has been going through what we call our CPR, kind of an indexing program, Billy is doing the indexing, we're finding these treasures and saying, we got to feature them. So here's a quick listen to, not a look at, but a listen to Expanding Your Intuition, recorded in Greece. Intuition is the natural knowingness. You just know it. You don't know how you know it. You just know it. Intuition is something that is beyond reason, but the results are definitive. The result in somebody who's leading an intuitive life is that their life is easier. Their life is without all the conflict or drama. Their consciousness goes far beyond the limitations of the human mind. Seems to have some sort of what other people would call magic constantly happening. I know what it is like, dear Shambhar, to get caught in the mind, because in a way it is delightful to try to figure things out. But it is also wonderful to live as a divine human who can go beyond the limitations of the mind, who can soar to new places, who can be as comfortable in their human skin as they are in their angelic wings. In this session, I would like to work with you on opening the doorway to your intuition. The opening of the third eye was the opening of the doorway. The ringing of the chime was letting the intuitive energy flow in through the third eye, into your mind, into your body, and now into your reality. The ringing of the chime was a signal that we had previously talked to you about that would basically allow this opening, this process to take place. You may have some strange sensations in your head, your forehead, your nose, and your sinuses tonight or tomorrow. It is a result of gently and slowly opening up the third eye and also opening some of these new energy pathways to bring intuition into your life. Most of you here attended in one lifetime or another one of the mystery schools. You learned about this thing called intuition. For many of you, it was the worst part of your spiritual training. You could master things like energy movement. You became proficient at doing multidimensional expansion, but intuition was one of the difficult subjects for you. This time, it's going to be much easier because you have done it before. As you work with intuition, it becomes a regular tool that you use, that you accept. You're going to suddenly realize how cumbersome and how really archaic the old system of thought and mind and thinking has been. And that the intuitive or the divine thought, working in close cooperation with your mind, with your body, with your nost, and your entire being, is much more efficient, much easier. Answers come quicker. Solutions are simpler. Everything seems to happen in a very now moment. Everything coming to you. That product, Expanding Your Intuition, is available now in the Crimson Circle store, again, in audio or text. And that was such a memorable trip.
Absolutely.
It was, Maria Gregoria was the host of it. And we had a lot of people. And I remember we went to dinner one night at this incredible restaurant right near the Parthenon, and with some high-level Greek ambassador, and that was cool, very surreal.
Very surreal.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on, talk about something a little bit different. What we're going to talk about really gives a whole new understanding, a whole new definition to the term treehouse.
And that is an understatement.
That's an understatement of the year. So, Linda, go ahead and set it up.
Well, we had just finished SES. It was, we really dove into it. It felt good. It was done. We were really tired, and we were just trying to relax a bit.
It was Sunday night, watching TV.
Right.
But we had storms all through the whole SES. I mean, it was really storming here.
And then you couldn't even complain about the storms because it had been a drought state until these storms. So you had to just allow the storms and be okay.
And it doesn't usually storm here. It'll rain a lot, particularly in the rainy months, but you don't get storms. But this was a storm. They call it actually a Kona storm because it comes up from the south, whereas most of the time the weather comes in from the west or the north. But this was one of those Kona storms. And so anyway, again, it was Sunday night. We were watching something on TV, just kind of relaxing, having a glass of wine, when all of a sudden,
kaboom! I honestly thought something had exploded in the house. Or maybe the volcano had gone nuts. Or maybe it was an earthquake. I just didn't know what to think except holy Samoli.
I thought at first an earthquake, but earthquakes don't make that kind of noise. Then I thought a plane crashed into the house or something.
Jeff?
And, yes?
How many earthquakes, how do you know what an earthquake sounds like?
Well, I've gone through several here, but it's the roof rattling, nothing else.
Okay.
This was an amazing kaboom sound.
It
really
was.
threw us out of our seats. And unlike anything I'd ever experienced or heard, I mean, it was
unreal.
You just stop for a moment, and it's not even a fear. It's just like, what the hell was that? Well, as it turns out, a large 50-foot, which would be about 17-meter ohia tree in our backyard, fell onto the house during the storm. It wasn't lightning. It was just the winds just blew it over. We'll give you a look at what we encountered the next morning when we walked outside. This tree just, like I said, it was big, 50 feet, and it fell, clipped off part of the roof of the house. It fell in an amazing way into the courtyard. And it was just, these trees don't have large root systems. They don't have tap roots.
But you can see it has two huge, tall pieces to it. I mean, it's not even, it was a big tree with a big spans.
And when it fell and hit the house, it made this incredible noise. And
oh my God.
And I have to thank Michelle Deneau, who's here today with running one of the cameras, because I called her. I think I was crying, Michelle, something happened. And she went to work Sunday night right after this happened and arranged for crews to come in. We had, by 8 o'clock the next morning, they started showing up. By 10, we had about 6, 7, 8 people.
Totally freaky.
Trailers for hauling the stuff off. We got to work clearing the tree. We had 3 chainsaws working at one time and hauling the thing out. We got everything taken care of, wonderfully enough, by 4 o'clock that afternoon. But you can kind of see where the tree clipped that. It was really an overhang. It wasn't the big part of the roof. And it was such a beautiful effort with everybody working together.
Look how big that thing is.
The thing, it's huge, and
heavy.
And to get it cleared off. And of course, we had help from Belle.
Yes.
And right behind her is Dakota, who is Tim's dog, and they were very, very helpful. But you could see the size of that tree. If you go back on that shot just for a minute, the size of that tree, it didn't even damage the fence. I mean, it just fell in such a way. The gate was open.
Through the opening.
Through the opening into the courtyard, and just did a little damage to the roof. So
what it could have done to the house, you can only imagine.
It could have been
devastating.
a lot worse. Somehow, this tree fell in such a way that there was minimal damage, and we actually almost have the roof fully repaired. I'd say just another half day of work on it. So we were very fortunate. And we're going to show you a video, and this video, aerial video that Mark Ritter shot the next morning.
Gives you a perspective.
Really gives you a perspective.
And it just fell right into that courtyard. I mean, that was so phenomenal.
So here's the video. And he's going from the trunk of the tree. You could see how it just fell right in line with the courtyard, into the courtyard, actually, and part of the barbecue grill there, although the grill is fine now. But you could also see that size of the, oh, there's Michelle working, the only one. The rest of us were drinking coffee. But you can see how it fell right into the courtyard, and amazing how little damage, and it just phenomenal.
It was
so
unbelievable.
that was quite a night. And then the cleanup the next day and the repairing the roof and everything has been such a team effort, and really goes a long way to showing what can be done. And and the reason why we wanted to bring this up was because Adamus talks in a recent Keyhawk session, maybe the most recent, about what he calls a natural protection. Right. And he says, as we stay on the planet, things are going to happen all around us, nature and other people and that, but we have kind of a built-in natural protection. And to me, this was such an example of it, that it could have been devastating, could have ruined the house, started the house on fire.
Anything.
Anything. The biggest thing that it did is scared the crap out of us. But, we've cleaned it up, almost done with the repair process. And it was just... It
didn't even take down the power lines.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Although the power went out later
that had nothing
because
to do with
of
the tree.
other trees and other places falling.
Right. But not because of ours.
So that was our treehouse experience we wanted to share with all of you.
Really crazy.
Okay, before we go on break, we want to take just a moment. 2 words that describe the Crimson Circle Angel program. And it's just a big thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so beautiful, and it means so much to us. Your role, what you do, always in the background, supporting Crimson Circle, energetically, it's beyond words.
Yeah, the angels are such an instrumental part of what we do, and they're the backbone of Crimson Circle.
Truly.
It's their financial support, but actually, more importantly, just the energy and the love that they do. There are some times when the staff are just working their brains out, trying to get everything done, and trying to do it very, very well. And I know they feel into that support that comes from, we have about 1,000 angels worldwide that are signed up for this program. And again, they make the financial contributions, either $22, $44, or $99 a month. They do get the priority in signing up for workshops, but they don't do it for that. They do it because they realize...
It's a quiet thing.
Yeah, they realize what we're trying to do on this planet right now. Crimson Circle is not a big company. We're not a noisy company. We don't do a lot of promotions and outreaches and emails. We're very, people come to Crimson Circle. We're not trying to recruit or doing anything, but it takes a lot to run an organization like this. It takes a lot to do all the free products and the shouts and to do it well, to do it with really good technology and tools. So the angels, we want to thank you at this holiday season, and you are so important to us. We're going to see you on Tuesday. We're doing our semi-annual angel webcast with Adamus. He takes questions from the angels. But we want to take this moment.
We love you so much. You mean so much to us. I just don't even have the right words to really say it.
So absolutely, from Linda and I, for the entire Crimson Circle staff, thank you, dear angels. And I'll never forget, even when COVID hit, and I was just wondering how we're just going to keep managing, and you guys just pitched in every way. The love and the support was incredible. So
truly,
thank you to the
so
angels. And if you are interested in becoming a Crimson Circle angel, we don't talk about it much. We don't push or promote it, but really one time a year to say if you're interested in becoming an angel, go to the More, M-O-R-E, section of the Crimson Circle website. You can read about it there. So with that, here we are at our Christmas Shout 2020 2021, almost forgot the year. We want to wish each and every one of you a very, very happy holidays from the Crimson Circle staff all around the world. It's such a beautiful time of the year, time to catch our breath, and use this holiday season to do exactly that. Catch your breath, stop and take a moment, because from what I understand, 2022 is going to be very fast and a very intense year. And I'm not saying bad. No, I'm not saying bad. But for Shaumbra, it's going to be a fast and intense year.
Wow.
We're going through a lot of changes in our bodies, in our minds. And we're doing a lot of work, even though benching sounds easy, look at us. But benching, it really does take a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication. And you're doing an incredible job for the planet, just shining your light at a time when the planet really, really needs it.
Thank you.
From all of us, Crimson Circle staff, we want to thank you, and happy holidays to each and every one.
Happy holidays.
So now we're going to take a coffee break. We're going to be back in about 32 minutes. We'll go see what Adamus has to say. Right now, use the time to get some coffee or use the restroom. Take care of you. So once again, happy holidays. We'll see you in just about 33 minutes.
Truly, thank you.
Thank you.